Guys, Pete Nova here with First Read Fantasy. I just figured I'd come on here, do a quick best ball draft to end out the week. Heading into the weekend on a Friday. I'm gonna go ahead and do a best ball mania draft. And yeah, just feel like hanging out. Come on in and shoot me a message. Chop it up with me. Talk a little bit of recent NFL news as well. And yeah, man, let's just get right into it. So let me pull up the screen here. I don't know how quickly I will fill this. 30 seconds is usually a little easier to talk with, but let's go with the 20 just to make sure that we get a quick fill. And a lot of times lately, people aren't joining the 30s as 30-second ones as quick, but this one says waiting for 11, which is actually pretty surprising. I'm the only person in here. Let's leave this, and maybe I'm wrong. Let me go ahead and give the 30 second one a shot here. Let's see. Okay, well, 4 people is better than waiting for 11. But yeah, appreciate you guys, that are tuned in. If you haven't already subscribed to us already here on First Read Fantasy, be much appreciated. I do want to talk a little bit about recent news as of late going on around the NFL. Obviously, we have mini camp, and we have OTAs, in the rear view mirror. But some small recent news: Cam Akers did sign with the New Orleans Saints. Just about 52 minutes ago. I think at this point, veteran running backs. Now that it's past June 1st, these veteran running backs are finally signing. You obviously saw, J.K. Dobbins to Denver. You saw Joe Mixon going over to. I mean, not Joe Mixon. Nick Chubb going over to the Texans, and so these guys are finally coming in, and they're finally, they're finally signing, which is a good sign. Sign, yada yada yada. You get the gist there. But yeah, I mean, Cam Akers is an interesting move. Gives them some depth. I have no concern about Kamara. This is not an established running back that they're bringing in. I do worry more about Joe Mixon. While we wait for the draft to fill, let's talk a little bit about Joe Mixon. So Joe Mixon, he's dealing with some stuff. Let me just pull up really quick. So I just have everything here. All right. So yeah, Joe Mixon did not report to camp at all so far. Now it was voluntary, but or at least he did not practice, not necessarily report. It's not like he's holding out, but Joe Mixon up 3 spots since the Nick Chubb signing. Nick Chubb coming in, that is kind of interesting to me. I worry about Joe Mixon because he missed voluntary organized team activities, which again it is voluntary, so that's okay. But him missing and also being seen in a walking boot, and now I guess they're reporting that he's in a small brace, is concerning to me. I don't think you bring in an established veteran like Nick Chubb if you don't expect to either A, use him, or B, don't have concerns, for your starting guy, right? I don't know what Nick Chubb is, to be honest, at this point. Obviously dealing with the knee injury, coming off of it, last season did not look good. And I'm not sure what guy we get in terms of Nick Chubb, but you're bringing in an established veteran. The RJ Harvey and JK Dobbins situation, a little bit different. You're bringing in Dobbins, but that's a floor raiser in a room that outside of Harvey doesn't have much talent. Audric Estime was a healthy scratch going into the playoffs. I don't think they have a ton of faith in him, and I just think they needed some depth in that room. Where you look at the Houston Texans, the starting running back is Joe Mixon, right? They also drafted Woody Marks, and they also have Damian Pierce, who looked pretty solid last year. So there are concerns for me with Joe Mixon. I just don't think you bring in an established running back, veteran running back like Nick Chubb, unless you're telling Chubb that they think he'll be involved. And maybe Chubb didn't have a ton of suitors. I would have thought the Browns made a ton of sense. I would have thought the Cowboys made a ton of sense. Him going to the Texans, you know, Joe Mixon last season, 77% of the opportunity share, was fifth in the NFL. I don't see the Texans giving Joe Mixon that kind of workload again. It was a pretty heavy workload for Joe Mixon, who again, a veteran, coming off that. I don't see him having the same workload. And I know I talked about this a little bit on Player Profiler. That video dropped today, but just some recent news, right? And all in all, I think the Texans added a decent amount of depth to that room. So sorry, not to the room, but to the wide receiver room. But got some guys here in the chat, wanted to, shout them out. Got my guy Alex here, said sneaking in a draft before the NBA Finals also makes sense. Stinks. Yeah, I think I got that from you when you put the poop emoji in the description. Debro said, "Was RJ Harvey is RJ Harvey's. Enjoy the dip, fam. Invest in Houston passing. Higgins, Kirk, Noel, all damn cheap." Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. As I said, the RJ Harvey signing, the RJ Harvey running back room is not super talented, and Dobbins was a floor raiser. Sean Payton has always had, multiple backs that he likes to rotate in his running back room. We saw it with Kamara. We saw it with Mark Ingram. There was always the expectation, at least for those who follow the team. I am a Broncos fan, which is pretty obvious by the stuff behind me. It was pretty obvious they were going to eventually bring in a veteran, whether they drafted Harvey. It just, some people thought it was an indictment on how Harvey's looked in camp. I just really don't think so. I don't think that's appreciate that, fam. I really don't think it has anything to do with it, to be honest with you. I really like uh, I really like the pass catchers when it comes to the Texans. I know, you said that. I remember a world where he paid the dip for Collins, Dell, Higgins, Diggs last year, and I honestly like the Christian Kirk addition if he can stay healthy. I honestly think he is very similar to Stephon Diggs from a skill set standpoint. And when you look at their yards per route run before Diggs got hurt last year, and so did Kirk, they were very similar in how they were utilized in their offenses, in the slots last season. So he probably, Christian Kirk, slots into that Stephon Diggs role from last year in that offense. And it's really about health for Christian Kirk, right? That's really the biggest concern is, can he stay on the field and be healthy? We haven't really seen it. Nico's had the same issues. I'm a huge fan of Nico Collins, but the truth is, Higgins and Noel are also pretty good values when you think about the fact that the guys in front of them, in Kirk and Nico, both have had issues staying on the field. But that's enough kind of small talk, I guess. The draft finally starts for me here. And this is pretty easy for me. I do like Gibbs over Saquon this season. I just think taking the younger running back of the two. I know Barkley obviously had the season he had last year. I don't need to tell anybody about that. But I just think when you look at the room, you look at David Montgomery, who I am a huge fan of. He's getting up there in age a little bit. And if we saw what would happen in a world where David Montgomery was not available, right? Last year, Jahmyr Gibbs looked fantastic when he was actually given the opportunity. And that was always my big concern about Gibbs is, could he carry a full workload if given the opportunity? And he really did. When David Montgomery was out towards the end of the season, I mean, you saw him rip off a really, really strong fantasy finish, right? 19 points, 28 points, 25, 26. You're looking at from week 14 to week 17. And Gibbs looked really, really good down the stretch as the lone guy in that backfield. I like Saquon Barkley. Don't get me wrong. I think Saquon's going to be fine this year, but you know, with the trends of guys having wear and tear on their bodies, give me the younger player who has less wear and tear, who I think has just as much upside as Saquon Barkley does, and is in an offense with a quarterback that you know I I fought back last year a ton with Saquon Barkley and people saying that he wasn't going to catch enough passes in this offense to be worth his ADP last year, and I just didn't think that was the case. Kellen Moore, we saw him throw to the running back position in the past, especially with Dallas. Obviously, the biggest question mark is no Kellen Moore this year, right? Do they make some changes a little bit in that offense? But they did also they did hire internally. They hired from within, so that's definitely a positive as well. But just to close it out, I just think I'd rather go with Gibbs because I do have concern of Barkley staying healthy, who's a guy who has had injury concerns, and I think their upside is pretty similar, except you worry that Gibbs is splitting time, but I think Gibbs will also catch more passes than Saquon will, which should raise his floor, in that regard. And Saquon still has to deal with the tush push a little bit, which again they're splitting hairs here between Gibbs and Saquon, but it's coming back to me here. Let me actually pull up the board. I'll pull up the board after this next pick for me because I'm gonna have to drop it down anyway. Um, so I don't really have a ton of exposure to Bowers. He goes there. I would have considered it early on in this offseason. He was going at the turn. His ADPs came back down to earth a little bit. But in this situation, I do usually like to stack running backs as much as possible, but I'm going to take my guy Ladd here. I don't have a ton of exposure to him yet in best ball. I get sniped on him a ton. So I'll take Ladd there and then hope that one of these running backs that I like comes back to me. But I also have an RB1 anchor here, and there are a good amount of running backs in that 15 to 20 range that I'm fine having as an RB2, with Jahmyr Gibbs being my RB1 as my anchor, which is what I will look to most likely do here. Depending on which of these wide receivers are available, and which of these running backs. If Josh Jacobs slips back to me, I'll probably take him or Trey McBride. If you do pay attention to my content and you do, watch the streams, I'm a huge Trey McBride fan. So, I try to get as much exposure to him as possible. His ADP has obviously gone up much higher, but if I can get him third round, I feel a little more comfortable. I don't really like paying up for quarterbacks and tight ends as much, but an ADP at 24.5. I feel like he's getting pushed down just a little bit lately. I believe I saw that on his ADP risers fallers for 4 for 4 recently when I was getting ready for my show at Player Profiler and doing some research there. I think he has dropped a little bit, in his total ADP. So running backs get sniped here. I really like Brees Hall. I don't know that I want to take him. If I take Brees, the wide receivers, I'm not really in love with this range. So I feel like I have to take a wide receiver here. I love Adams. I love Marv. I love JSN. As much as I love Adams, I'm gonna get some exposure to JSN. I do prefer Adams over Marv, but I prefer Adams, Marv, and JSN over Tyreek and Terry. And then, of course, I still love my boy Mike Evans. That's my guy. Croninster said I'd take Marvin Harrison Jr. in the third if he's there. Yeah, I did pass. I do like Marv. Best ball is nice because you can just really get a lot of different types of exposures, which is always fun. I always also I've learned to really not press getting stacks anymore. I'm not super concerned, but Marv and Adams and JSN are actually nice wide receivers to grab when you're looking for stacks because the quarterbacks for them all go decently late outside of maybe Kyler, who's still like just inside the top 100. So, but if you are here, appreciate it. Like the show, subscribe. I know Dynasty Football Key. Subscribe, appreciate that. I know Debro is in here from Fantasy Pros. Appreciate you coming in, man. Cronster's here. who's our guy over on the producing side and helping out with the Discord and stuff. And he's going to start getting into some content soon as well. I did go dark mode here. I did get some shit last time about not being on dark mode. I feel like every time I draft and I'm not on dark mode, all the best ball bros come at me and tell me that I'm killing them because I'm not in dark mode. I guess it's a controversial thing and over there, with people that draft. Gabagool, hey, how you doing? What's up, man? Appreciate you dropping in. Maybe a new face. I don't know if I'm too familiar, but a lot of people are new faces here because obviously we left over from face off and started our new channel. It's been about a month now, so a lot of people are going to feel like new faces, new names. Gabagool, what's going on, man? If you guys have any questions, dynasty related, even redraft related, whatever, feel free to drop those questions in as well. I'm happy to answer them as I'm here drafting. But let me take a look. I keep forgetting to pull up the board, so that's really my fault. So I'll pull it up after this pick here. But looking at this part of the board, I'm actually really happy with how this has fallen, because I have Jameer Gibbs, I have Ladd, I have JSN. I could realistically dip into the wide receivers again here and still grab one of these running backs as my RB2, which is what I shared before, which I really, really like this range of guys. I don't want Mixon. We talked about him early on in the stream. I don't mind Chuba. I don't find myself clicking on him a ton. In this range here, you know, I have two guys that are likely going to get 130 targets this season. So, maybe I take a risk. I have high floor guys. Um, I'm gonna go with DK. I don't touch DK very often, so that is a little bit of a surprise to me. But I'll get some volatility in here just because of my current wide receivers right now. I have the luxury to miss on DK, given that I have these two players, and so I'm okay with it. I like Devonta Smith typically more. I also would tell you that generally speaking, I like Tetmore, who goes before me. And I probably would have normally taken Jamison Williams as well, but I figure, DK, lone guy in that room, having him as a wide receiver 3, I don't mind taking a chance there. And again, I've been pretty adamant about not loving DK, but now that Rodgers is there, I'm getting you're getting a number one target on an offense that's likely to funnel targets to the number one. And I'm not trying to go back on my quote unquote hate for DK because I have been vocal about it, but that doesn't mean I won't get any exposure. It just really depends on the draft. Him being my wide receiver 3, absolutely. DK Metcalf as my wide receiver 2, and God forbid wide receiver 1. I got problems with that, but for this build specifically, I'm okay with it. Also, it's a cheap guy that I can stack with the quarterback. I mean, all of these are all very manageable players to stack with quarterbacks, and I'm not reaching for stacks this year. It's one thing that I'm very, very adamant that I'm just not doing this year. Last year I just felt like there was just too many times where I passed up on good value just to get stacks. And I'm just not doing it. You always got to try to learn from things from the previous season. And for me, that's one of them is just, I'm not pressing stacks. If I get them, great, but I'm just taking the best player on the board, that in my opinion, at every click. That's going to be my strategy. Will I have some volatility, and sometimes take chances on some other guys? Sure. But overall, that's really what my strategy is going to be going forward. Now we're at a point where I feel like I have to go running back now. At this juncture, it is tempting to maybe go quarterback, but I try typically not to. I'm gonna take my guy Alvin Kamara. I prefer Kamara over all those guys, even my guy RJ Harvey. So I'll take Kamara there. That puts me in a pretty good situation with my running backs. And my wide receivers, where at this point I don't have to stress by saying I need another running back, I need another wide receiver. I can kind of organically just pick the board, and how players kind of fall to me at this point. And That's why I love waiting on tight end and quarterback because there's just so much value at the tight end and quarterback position that, I by not taking one this early, I've pretty much solidified, you know, my running backs and wide receivers. Obviously, I'm still going to add to that room, but I now don't have to reach on anything, and I just got to make sure I get the quarterbacks that I want towards the end. But there's a lot of really good values towards the end of the drafts, to be honest with you. Kronster said, "It's nice seeing you in dark mode. Light mode is a red flag for psychopaths." Yes, I don't know. I guess that's a thing. I didn't know it was a thing. Now I know. But if you guys are here, appreciate you joining the stream on YouTube, even on the Twitter side as well. Please give us a like. And if you're not subscribed already, please do so. And again, if you guys have questions, shoot them my way. I'm happy to answer anything that you guys might have. I'm here. So, shoot, go for it. I am going to try something a little bit different with my screen really quick. So bear with me if if this kind of jacks us up here really quick. I just wanna try something. Man, I can't get a feel for this. Okay, that's good. It's good. Okay, that's not what I wanted at all. This is good. I will get the screen up in just a second. It says this is in the scene. Yeah, I don't know, man. We gotta go back to StreamYard. This is just painful. Oh man, let's see. If I do an empty, I do this, I do this. There we go. Okay, this is what I was going for. All right, so let me drop myself down. Bear with me, folks. I can make this bigger, and I can do this. We can do that, and I can do this. And that. There you go. Now I can kind of just move myself around to give you guys a little bit of a better view. All right, cool. Well, appreciate you guys being patient there. Sipping a little wine. I don't know if I'm gonna try to go through the entire stream here, but I do have a meeting at 8 o'clock. So hopefully this draft's over in 20 minutes, or I'm cutting it close. Um, Dynasty Football Key said, for Dynasty, is there any interest in stashing Schoonmaker with Ferguson and Pickens on final years of their contracts? So I was actually in a startup recently, and it's a good question. I was in a startup recently, and I really, really did not do a good job at the tight end position. I continuously punted the position, um, and I looked at Schoonmaker. Oh, hold on, let me pick here really quick. Man. Now, I talked about not reaching for players. I generally don't take quarterbacks. This is extremely tempting to take Burrow here as he's super far behind ADP and then a Dunze. Oh man, I can't believe I'm doing it, but I'm gonna take him. I'm gonna take Burrow here. I mean, to get Burrow at 69, he's 10 spots behind ADP. You're talking about a guy like normally you're taking Burrow in like the fourth round, but like the turn here. To get him at the end of the sixth, that's where I'll get some value. And I did talk about Burrow actually on Player Profiler Risers and Fallers. Um, yeah, have 20 minutes and I'm in round four. Um, I did talk about Burrow on rises and fallers today for player profiler. And honestly, like I said, I didn't really like his ADP. But I mean, 10 spots past ADP, that's where I'll take some chances on guys and get some variance. I think he's worth taking a chance there in the sixth round at the end of the sixth. But here's the team so far. I have Joe Burrow, Gibbs, Alvin Kamara, Ladd, JSN, DK Metcalf. Um, I know Matt from the Mediators is going to probably give me shit for drafting DK Metcalf. I'm not. I already explained that I generally would not take DK. I've been super adamant about not wanting much DK this year, but given my wide receivers with JSN and Lad, I felt like I could take a risk with DK, who it goes to with a quarterback who's going to funnel targets to him. So I was fine taking a chance on him, just given my current structure of the team. I'll get to the Schoonmaker question once I get this next pick here. Um, man, even Laporta, like he's gonna get auto picked. Oh, okay, no, like even Laporta is super. I don't like to reach for tight ends. I still like, but it's just like even Laporta here to get like a premium tight end and a premium quarterback when I didn't even reach on them super early is appealing. But I do need to address the running back still a little bit here, in my opinion. It's really between Aaron Jones and Pollard. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Jones. I do like Pollard. Jones is a little more risky. Both guys have injury concerns, but I feel like I can back up Jones with Mason a little bit later, who goes around here. So maybe I get him on the way back. But um, I know. Yeah, I know. Not getting T and Chase is definitely a concern with Burrow. I honestly, I've tried to, and I said this before, but lately, I'm really just trying not to chase stacks, and I'm just trying to go for best player available. That's something that I just feel like I forced a lot last season with best ball, and so I'm trying. I can't keep the layers. Why am I not? Why is this dude? We got to get back to StreamYard, man. We're not using StreamYard. We're using something else, and I, for the life of me, cannot. I can't even get myself to stay here, man. Okay, there we go. Yeah, let me show the board. But yeah, I'm just really trying not to force stacks and just trying to just take the best players. There are certain ways maybe I could probably get Jazeki later on, some smaller stacks, maybe Yoshi, even Burton if you're into the fact that maybe he's turning a corner this offseason. But yeah, that's really why I went with Burrow, even though I normally wouldn't have, but he just slid past ADP by 10 picks, and it was hard for me to pass up. So I just gave it a shot. But Dynasty Football Key said, my intel suggests Brevin Span Ford is a stronger keeper. Both irrelevant for this video, so no worries. Um, Honestly, I mean, Debro actually, ironically, being in here might know more about Brevin Span Ford. I don't remember if he's if he is he the fullback slash tight end that ended up like for the Cowboys that ended up like having some interesting like a few interesting games. Let me see. I feel like that's who it was. What is it? Six, dude, 6'7". Jesus, 6'7". Yeah, rookie from last year. No, okay, he wasn't the fullback. I don't know. I can't remember who that fullback was for that team. Yeah, Hunter Loop. Yeah, yeah, that's who it was. Yep, yep, Hunter Loop K. That's who it was. Um, well, yes, and that's. But I could still get Rodgers. I know spending on premium capital on Burrow kind of just. But that's actually perfect because Rodgers is practically free. So if I'm still going to get another quarterback or two, but it's going to be a really cheap one. So I can still get that stack with Rodgers towards the end of the draft because he's going to be practically cheap. Though I don't know what their buys if their buys line up here. But all right, let's see what we got. So I mean, I could go back to Mason and back him up. I don't really generally like to handcuff my own players. I do love me some Josh Downs. I'll say that. And again, if I do go with cheap stacks, I can still grab Daniel Jones and Aaron Rodgers maybe and stack those guys. But I don't want to force it. I'm gonna go with Mason. Just because of my running back room, there's a little bit of volatility with Kamara and Jones with the injuries. And Mason, if he steps in, he's behind a really good offensive line. Um, I know you're preaching to the choir. I love Igbuka and I do love Downs a lot. I even love Jaden Higgins. I don't care for Michael Pittman. I don't care for Kyler. Obviously, I have my quarterback. I don't really care for Keon here. And the Luther Burden, soft tissue injury is kind of weird, man. Not weird necessarily, but it is a little concerning that he's already dealing with soft tissues. A guy that's twitchy like that. I hate seeing those kinds of injuries for guys like that. Um, Sipping on a little bit of wine. I was gonna have Hoff join me tonight, but he said he was busy, so whatever. Um, oh man, let's see. Someone said, "What is this? What's wrong with this camera angle?" I'm getting text messages. Um, Dynasty Football Key said, "I saw Ibuka has one of the lowest projections for a top rookie wide receiver. Hope that's wrong." You know, I think with Ibuka, it all depends on what your thoughts are about Godwin. There are talks that he might not be ready to play week 1. The ankle injury is a little sketchy to me. And I love Ibuka. When you think about I had some statistics pulled up, and I'd have to try to pull it, but I put some statistics out there, but the Buccaneers run a 3 wide receiver set last season, like 10th most in the NFL, um, or top 10 in the NFL. I don't have the exact number there. So that's why I he's gonna get on the field, man. You know what? I'm gonna take Ibuka since we're talking about him. Screw it. I'm gonna do a ton of these drafts anyway, so I don't care. But I look at Baker Mayfield threw the ball, at one of the highest rates per game last season. They're gonna throw the football. That defense is not very good. I also think it's beneficial that they play in good weather. Like that is a positive. They play in Tampa Bay. You don't have to worry about them towards the end of the season. You look at a team like Green Bay, who they play in cold weather. They like to pound the football towards the end of the season as they get towards the playoffs. When thinking about like Matthew Golden, who is in a more favorable situation due to the talent around him. But in my opinion, I think Egbuka still has a chance. I want to pull up let me pull up the Bills. I mean, the Bucks receiving stats from last year. And this is not every time I stream on this software, I get frazzled. So this is not my best work, guys, but it's all good. I'm not stressed out. But this new streaming software, we're not on StreamYard, we're on something else. And every time I do this, man, I feel I feel like I'm just like I always freaking trip myself out because I'm trying to freaking do everything on this thing. But let me see if I can actually flip it here. Let me share my screen. This is what I'm talking about. I can't with this freaking software, man. But yeah, this is the stats from last year, right? 110 targets for Evans. You have God, man, nothing's going right, man. Nothing is going right for me. You had Evans with 110. You had Kate on with 87. That was spiked, obviously, due to Evans and Godwin missing time. Godwin had 62 targets in just 7 games alone. And then you have McMillan with 58. Sterling Shepard alone had 51 last year. Let's just assume Sterling Shepard gets kicked to the curb. Trey Palmer, 22. Ryan Miller, 20. There are vacated targets here. If you just take Raheem Jarrett, Ryan Miller, and Trey Palmer and Sterling Shepard and just tell them to kick rocks, like you're talking about 100 targets right there. And I think overall with Igbuka, it's a matter of like, do you think there's a possibility that he's playing behind two veterans that have that issue staying healthy? And again, is there a world where Chris Godwin it takes him some time to ramp back up and get healthy? So that's really where I'm not expecting big things for Igbuka. I think based on where my wide receiver room's at, like I can take a chance where I'm hoping and banking on the fact that maybe there's an injury in that room. And I do think Big Book is in line for around 80, even 80 to 90 targets, I think is feasible, even with those veterans in front of them. Now, at this point, I mean, I want to check out the tight ends here. I really like Tucker and Njoku here. I don't know if I should be able to get one of them on the way back. Um, I really hate the board here, man. I'll just take a chance on Tootin. I don't love the board at this spot. I mean, especially for where my team is, I would have liked Kyle Williams here. Burden's clearly slipping. People are avoiding him right now, maybe because that soft tissue injury. I love my guy Marvin Mims, of course. I think there's some upside. Christian Kirk probably would have been the guy though if I was going to take a wide receiver here, just because I have a rookie here, and I know if Kirk's on the field, he's gonna have a good solid role in this offense. To be honest with you, let me take a look at the tight ends here. I don't really. The reason I don't reach on tight ends is with Evan Ingram, who Ingram is already off the board. I think he's going ahead like one tight end ahead of Loveland. I mean, I just love Tucker, Kraft, and Njoku and Ingram. Like I don't want Loveland right now. I don't expect a big year from him. He's just not somebody I find myself clicking. I don't mind at this stage reaching for players. I do like Njoku. I do like Tucker Kraft. Again, I'm naked. I'm not getting any stacks here. I'm going to try for Jazeki later on. But I'll just go with, man, I love Njoku, but lately I've just been more and more falling in love with Kraft. But I'm gonna go with Njoku just because I just know what role I feel confident the Packers are going to get Kraft involved, and he's going to see a bigger role with with just the volatility of the wide receivers in that offense. But again, this is a team that likes to run the football, and quite honestly, like Browns say they're going to, and I believe it. They're going to run the ball, but I also just think that their defense is not as good as the Packers. So I think they'll be in some more passing situations, which should bode well for Njoku. Um, so yeah, Debro, Alex, appreciate you guys, man. Appreciate you coming in and just chatting it up. I don't know what you guys got doing, but if you guys are doing anything fun for Father's Day, I hope you guys enjoy it. Spend time with the kids if you guys got any. I know Alex, you do. I'm not sure about you, Debro, but um, if either of you guys ever want to come on, Debro, I know your friend's pretty close with Hoff, man. If you ever want to come on, ping Hoff. We'd love to have you on. Alex, same here with you, man. If you ever want to come on, would love to have you. But we're kind of getting in the swing of this. Obviously, the channel is new, and so best ball content super easy as we're kind of transitioning and getting everybody ready for once we start really pushing content in the next 2 weeks as we ramp up for the off season. So as I said, appreciate you guys for tuning in. We got a couple rounds left. I'll go through my team here again. Again, I am pretty naked here. I got Burrow, Gibbs, Kamara, Jones, Mason. So I get some protection there. I did take Tootin. I'm fine with grabbing Tootin there. Wide receiver wise, I have two studs. I mean, there's a world where both of these guys are top 10 in Lad and JSN. And obviously I go with DK. And I get Amike Egbuka as well. And I obviously just took Njoku on the last pick. So yeah, appreciate you, Alex. Thank you so much, man. Really means a lot for you tuning in. Hoff is in the background, but I don't know if you could hear him yet, but I'm gonna pull him up. There he is. What's up, buddy?
Does it say offline? Is that real?
Where? Oh, I think it just meant that I didn't have you pulled up.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was here for the meeting, so I'm just hanging out now.
I didn't say to come in this studio.
Uh,
Yeah, it's all
You
right.
said the one you sent on X was the one I had. So
Mm.
anyway,
Jeez, everyone's gonna join this freaking link then. Jeez.
what are you doing?
I just figured I'd do a best ball draft. I did a bunch of stuff to get everything ready for the meeting, and I was like, you know what? Let me just go live. I got time. So,
Sick invite.
dude, I texted you and said, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, I said I was listening to WFAN. That's it. I was sitting there
Uh,
chilling.
jeez.
I
All right.
forgive
Well,
you.
let me. Can you send a text to the group and just let them know if they join the link? Just stay down at the bottom, or I don't even fucking know, man. I don't know how to work this freaking software, man. By the way, this is Alex from Player Profiler.
Yeah.
Just wanted to say what's up to you, Hoff.
What up, man? How you doing? It's good times.
All right. Well, at this point, I Tucker Craft finds his way back to me, so I'm just gonna take him with Njoku. I didn't even look at the buy, thankfully. Okay, they're not on double buys here. That's good. Alfredo said, "Yo, been absent on the contest recently, but glad to be back." Sauce
Mm.
Alfredo reposted this stream. I don't. I That's not even a comment. This is the weird thing about this software. That's not even a comment from him, but it's in the comments. So
I
that's
don't.
kind of neat.
Okay.
Interesting. We'll be at StreamYard soon. Yeah, it's crazy. Like I do like the software is kind of interesting. Like, but I feel like it could be good if we really gave it a shot. But like, there's just too many guys, man. Like are gonna have to get used to it.
Growing pains, yeah, learning
Yeah,
curve.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have to freaking make guys freaking have to learn it. Oh man, man, oh man. Yeah, I love craft, man. Tight end is like I feel like the ADPs for tight ends are so jacked up this year. Like I don't think Loveland should be going ahead of Tucker Craft. I
No.
really don't. Man. All right. Well, where are we at here?
Even in best ball too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm gonna take Tillman. I think there's a world where Tillman, he had a good season last year. And again, I take him in Njoku. Maybe I can get a Joe Flacco stack. I'm stacking all these guys where,
Mm.
or maybe I can get like a Aaron Rodgers and I if I have zero stacks in this. Um,
Well, you
of
had said
Burrow.
that. You had said that
I
like a
know.
month ago. You said you wanted to try and gear some of your drafts towards that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not being married to stacks. Sometimes I am. Sometimes I'm not.
Yep. Yep. And that's really the thing is that like I took Burrow because Burrow fell like 10 picks past ADP. And I was just like, you know what? Like, that's how you get some variance is when you like I'll take guys I don't love that just fall very far from ADP because like it's just about taking advantage of it. Like you're not gonna like guys will normally come back to earth and go back to where they were, but a lot of times it's reacting on news. Like Luther Burden's not practicing right now because of this like soft tissue injury, and he dropped like he didn't go like 20 spots ahead of where he was supposed to be in this, where his ADP is currently. So Alex said, I like flexible streams, but StreamYard makes money being, streaming for dummies. That's really what it is. And that's the thing, too. Like, if you have
True.
all these other people that are using it, like, expecting them to know how to use the software is just like, that's really the biggest pain. Like, OBS, for example, like, I was looking into doing OBS for us, but I sat there and I was like, dude, there's no way coach is gonna know how to use OBS.
No.
Like, I mean, it's
It's hard. I mean, even Anthony, God rest his soul, said he couldn't stand OBS, and he was,
which is crazy. I had to convince him to go. I think I had to convince him to go to StreamYard. I don't even remember, but he didn't want to go to StreamYard.
yeah, no, he didn't want to go to Streamyard.
No.
No.
So, and there we are. Um, man, all right. So, where's Mike Jaceki? His ADP is super far down. Tight end
Yeah,
23.
it is.
Let me just star him. I'll end up picking him like so far ahead of ADP just because I freaking queued him so I don't forget, of course. If I let me see here.
I told Matt that you're running late just to piss him off, just because the Thunder started at 8:30.
Nice.
So,
Oh jeez. You're a jokester, you know that?
yeah, that I am.
Oh, oh man, I'm caught here. I like maybe taking a chance on Roshan with this little hype that's being built up, but I do like Wandale Robinson too.
I like Wandell too. That volume last year, it's
Oh shit! See, that was what I was talking about. I was gonna freaking, I was gonna cue him, and then Jaceki was queued ahead of him, and a lot of times I don't even click draft on guys anymore. I just hit the queue button, so that way it takes that extra step to go hit draft, and I've been auto drafted so many times that I'll just hit the star, like I'll just go like that, so that it just drafts them. You know what I mean? But Alex said, "Adios, heading to the sports bar with the boys, watching the NBA finals. Enjoy, man. Appreciate you
Cheers,
dropping
man.
in again, man." Let's see.
Crohn's just laughing at you.
Oh yeah, yeah. We won't be here for lunch longer, dude. I'm telling you. Yeah, I mean that's really what I'm saying. I completely agree, Conster. It seems like the connection's really good with Igbuka already with Baker, so I'm all about it. By the way, what did Matt and them say? Are they freaking? Oh,
Uh, no, I mean, I'm sure they're ready. You know. Um, I said he's running late just to piss off Matt. Oh, uh, yeah. Crunch just said he needed 2 minutes, but he's here. I don't know where we're doing the call. If it's Discord.
yeah, we'll
Uh,
do it in Discord. I forgot about that actually.
Pete is
Um,
still drafting anyways, and then yeah.
all right, I finally get a stack. I get Mike Jaceki. There we go. There we go. We got 6 people here on YouTube. Appreciate it.
You know
Um,
what's weird about this software?
what's that?
So obviously I put it on the YouTube and you can see me, but there it says I'm offline and it's just my face. Like it's just like a random generic face. It's very weird. I'll take a picture and
Like what
show
you
you
see
later.
on YouTube right now?
No, no. What I see on YouTube is fine. I see my gorgeous face. Um, what I see while we're doing this though is where my picture should be. It's just like a blank gray screen that says
Mm,
offline.
I gotcha. I gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah,
Well,
send me a
no, it
picture
doesn't
of
make
that.
sense. I don't like
Well,
it.
I meant to say I understand what you're saying.
It tripped me up. All right. All
All
right.
right. Well,
Well,
I'm almost done here. I got 3 more rounds. We got 5 minutes. Are they in Discord or what's going on?
I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead there now.
All right.
Let you go draft some more shit. But
Yeah, I'll be there in
enjoy.
like 5 minutes.
All right. See you later.
All right. Well, now he's not here. So I gotta take him off the screen. All right, folks. Well, if you are still here, we appreciate it. I appreciate it. So far, team wise, Joe Burrow, Jameer Gibbs, Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason, Tootin. I ended up with a pretty solid receiver room. Ladd, JSN, DK, Mika Egbuka, Cedric Tillman, Wandale. My tight ends are set. I get the Jazeki stack with Burrow. Woohoo. I just felt like I had to get something, and I don't mind it, especially at the tight end position. I don't think it's super forcing. I know I said I don't want to force stacks, and I don't think that's forcing too bad. But now I'm in a freaking tough situation because uh Aaron Rodgers goes, Gino goes, Darnold goes. I'm getting cooked here now. Um so yeah, I mean, I'm gonna probably have to take Jones and Tyler Shock. Not ideal. Not ideal, guys. Don't drink and draft. Don't drink and draft, man. All right. We're wrapping up here. Let me see. Am I gonna take Jones or am I gonna take Shuck, man? Fuck. I don't want to take either. God damn it. I'm gonna take Shuck. I'll take Shuck. I'll take Shuck. I'll take Shuck. I'll take Shuck. All right. Let's see. Oh, okay. I got 2 more picks. I got 2 more. Do I try to thread the needle? I could take Yoshivas actually. I'll thread the needle. I'll take Yoshivas, and worst comes to work, I have Burrow. Like if Burrow gets hurt, I'm cooked anyway. So fuck it. If worst comes to worst, I'll freaking take Flacco. I don't care. We'll figure it out. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. All right. Let's see. Um, did my guy just get picked? Fuck. Yeah. Oh my God. Yoshivash got picked. God damn it, dude. All right. I'm just taking Jones out of desperation because I don't know who to pick right now. So it's good. All right. It's good. Not my best work, folks. Not my best work. Yeah. AR is cooked. I know. I know. I know. I know. I just don't have any. I'm completely fucking naked. Maybe I get lucky. I'll take Alec Pierce if he falls back to me to get like a stack. But again, goes back to my point of like, if I don't love Alec Pierce, am I really taking him so I could stack him with Daniel fucking Jones? Like, I'm probably not winning if freaking I have to depend on Daniel Jones as my starter at the end of the fucking day. Yeah, if I don't know, Jamie said, if I don't know, you don't know who to pick, just take Roshan. Yeah, fuck. I was actually very close to taking Roshan, and I fucking didn't. So, joke's on me. Um, as a Broncos homer, I do want to point out that Devon Vele at 214 ADP is practically free, and I think he's going to be the wide receiver too in Denver. Now I think Evan Ingram's going to be the second highest targeted player, but I think Vele. I like Pat Bryant, but I think Vele is going to get it over Mims and Pat Bryant. So I think that's the guy to own if you are caring for the wide receiver too in Denver. It's an interesting shot to take. Oh man, Jamie, don't do this to me. I would take Evan Ingram just because of quarterback situation. I think I love both guys. I have so much exposure to both. But I'm taking Ingram 100%. I don't I think Ingram, to be quite honest with you, like I think he has like upside to be top five. Njoku probably, 7 is my highest I think his upside goes. But he's been good too. I love both guys. I don't understand their ADPs. Their ADPs just don't make any fucking sense at all. I'm waiting for the day that it gets fixed because Jonnu Smith should just not be going before both guys. I just don't understand it. I really don't. I don't think Colson Loveland should be going ahead of Evan Ingram or David Njoku either. Like those guys, that shit just doesn't make sense to me at all. It doesn't make sense to me. But who am I going to take? Somebody send in a chat. Who should I take with my last pick here? Oh man, could take Vele. Could take Vele. I like Taj Brooks. Could take Taj Brooks. Um, let's see. Yeah, of course. No problem, Jamie. Appreciate you dropping in, man. At this point in time, I like taking running backs over wide receivers. How big of an impact is Vele and Jalen Tolbert going to have? Like, if Chase Brown goes down and Taj Brooks gets thrown into a starting position for 2-3 weeks, that likely has way more spike upside than me taking, you know, fucking Devon Vele, right? Who I would only take in this situation probably if I had Knicks. So, um, Pat Bryant, Arroyo. Yeah. I took Brooks anyway. I just like taking running backs at the end, man, because I just feel like they they have a chance to like give you like maybe 2-3 spike weeks if they get thrown in a starting role. Yeah, I took Brooks. Yeah. Um, cool. Well, if you guys stayed, I appreciate you being here. I'm gonna go ahead and read off my team here. Please don't shame me. I did take Burrow pretty naked. I took him because he was 10 spots back. Oh, okay, the draft closed out. Gotta love that. I took Burrow because he was 10 spots past ADP. So I just couldn't pass up. I usually don't reach on quarterbacks early in the draft. Get Tyler Shuck. I get Daniel Jones. Then my running backs, I anchor down with Gibbs. I get Kamara, I get Jones, I get Jordan Mason, Tootin, Taj Brooks. I like this so far. Wide receivers wise, Lab McConkey, Jackson Smith and Jigba, DK Metcalf, Egbuka, Tillman, Wandale, and Egbuka. These are all guys like, I mean, relatively speaking, Wandale is likely going to give us 100 targets again, in my opinion, 100 plus. Egbuka, I think, is good for 80 to 90, and he's got upside to get higher, especially if there's injuries there. And then Tillman's a wild card, man. I'm interested in that volatility. So I'll take him. And then at tight end, I mean, this is like a dream tight end room for me. Like Njoku and Kraft pairing them together is great. And then I just get the stack with Jazeki. I don't mind taking that. That's fine with me. Yeah. And oh yeah, shit, it's true. I did get Brooks to pair with Burrow. And yes, Thornton is a really, really good is a good pick. I have him a lot in a lot of drafts. In rookie drafts, I took a lot of him. I liked him coming out of college. Jamie, sorry that you came in a little bit late, man. I do got to bounce, guys. I do appreciate everybody that tuned in. Again, this was really more of a surprise show, but still appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you so much, and we'll get more content out to you soon. So